Let's get started with the driver's day. In the center of the screen, there's a label for Enter Driver ID. Tapping on a label will present the device keyboard. Use the keyboard to enter the driver ID provided by the carrier and press the Done button on the keyboard. Let's do that now. The sign-in process will start by requesting the driver's log from the data from the website. When the data is received, a dialog will appear with a message about the logs, such as, "The logs are up to date." There will be an OK confirmation button for the driver to use. The driver's status has not been yet changed to on duty at this time. Next appears the preview availability screen. This is a preview of the driver's available drive time and provides the driver with the chance to check hours before signing in. It shows the driver's name, a gain time at label, the last duty status the driver was in, including date, time, and time zone. If the driver does not have a full set of hours at sign-in, the gain time label shows the driver the date and time that he must wait to get a full complement of hours before driving for this day. If the driver decides to wait for a full complement of hours, the driver can tap on the Cancel button and be taken back to the sign-in screen. If the driver has enough hours for the current shift, the driver chooses the Status button located in the lower right corner. Tapping on the Status button provides the driver with the dialog that allows the selection of the initial status. There are 3 to 6 buttons to choose from depending upon the business the carrier serves. On-duty driver. This button is used to identify the driver of the vehicle, and any movement will be recorded to this driver's record of duty status. On-duty not driver. This button is used to place the driver in an on-duty not driving. This button should only be used by a co-driver or a driver who will not be operating the vehicle. Sleeper. This button places the driver in a sleeper berth status. Personal conveyance. This button allows the driver to be placed in an off PC status, indicating that the vehicle is being used for personal use. There are specific guidelines for using personal conveyance. The driver should verify with the office for correct use of this feature. Let's tap on the on-duty driver button to continue the sign-in. Managing the shipments is the next step. A driver log must record the shipments that are being transported. If a driver is not carrying any shipment, the next button can be used to proceed. The driver will be shown a No Current Shipments dialog and will be asked to confirm yes or no that they intend to continue without a shipment. If the driver taps on No, the shipment screen will be shown again to allow the driver to enter any shipments. If the driver taps on Yes, the next step in the sign-in process will be shown. The shipment screen has 2 sides, Current Shipments and Add Shipments. To add, tap on the shipment ID and a keyboard will appear. Type in the commodity name or the bill of lading number and tap on the Done button on the keyboard. Tap Done again to complete. The keyboard will disappear and the shipment entered will appear in a list to the left. If the driver chooses to remove the shipment, tap on the shipment name in the list and the Remove button will be enabled. Tapping on the Remove button will remove the shipment. Use the Next button to proceed with the next step. If there were already shipments listed on the left side from a previous driver or shift, you can manage those shipments at this time also. The next step in the sign-in process is the DVIR, or Driver Vehicle Inspection Information dialog. This screen populates the current information about the vehicle. The dialog box will have a title bar that shows the vehicle ID the driver is using. The text box is populated with the current odometer reading from the ECM, including a drop-down box to show the odometer in miles or kilometers, the location from the device's GPS locator. If either odometer or GPS is not available, the driver will be required to enter that information manually before moving on. There are 2 confirmation buttons. Back will return the driver to the Manage Shipment screen. Request DVIR will send a request to the website and download the most current DVIR for this vehicle. The driver will see messages of either DVIR received or DVIR not received. If you see DVIR not received, you will need to enter an initial DVIR for this vehicle. If you see DVIR received, tap on the OK button and review the last inspection. The DVIR review screen includes data about the vehicle and the location on the right side, and the 3 steps in the DVIR process on the left: the driver who created the last post trip, the mechanic or repair person who repaired the defect, and approved by, which is empty. The current driver's name and ID will be shown here when the DVIR is completed. There are 3 buttons across the bottom of this dialog. Cancel will return the driver to the sign-in screen, back to the previous screen, and next to show the certify and submit screen. The certify and submit screen dialog has 2 selections for safe to operate, yes or no. If the vehicle was unsafe to operate, choose the no selection, tap into the notes box, and type the details regarding the safety concern and tap on done. If the vehicle is safe to operate, choose yes and tap on done. Tapping on done will always take you to the driver overview screen. If the vehicle was unsafe to operate, the driver would be expected to change his duty status to off-duty, process a post-trip DVIR for this vehicle, and report the actual defects through the DVIR system. For this example, let's tap on yes for safe to operate and tap on done to move on. The driver has now completed the sign-in and the driver overview screen appears. The date in the upper right has now been updated to the date and time of the driver's home terminal, and the driver's status has been updated to on-duty driver. The status bar continues to show the system icons to warn the driver of any issues, and note that because a shipment was added during our sign-in process, the file icon is no longer being shown. Just below the status bar in the upper left is the name of the signed-in driver. Below that is the driver's current duty status. The status shows on with a letter D in parentheses indicating that this is the primary driver. A gain time at label to indicate a date and time the driver may gain some driving time. Gain time is only calculated if the driver is in an off-duty or sleeper berth status. Below the current status is a downward arrow to open the driver's availability panel. The driver can review any active exemptions and the current available driving time for rules assigned to this driver. There may be more information than is shown on the screen, and the user can swipe up and down to view additional details. There is an upward arrow at the bottom of the information that can be used to close the availability panel. The center of the screen shows a graphical representation of the available drive time. The dial will be colored green for available hours above 3, change to yellow for 3 hours or under, and change to red for 1 hour or under. The time indicator will show the exact driving time left. Audio alerts will begin to warn the driver once he drops below 1 hour of drive time left. In the upper right is a button labeled Rest Break. Some driver types require a daily rest break to complete the driving day. This button allows the driver to change duty status to off-duty while staying signed into the device. To start a rest break, tap on the Rest Break button. The button is interactive and a dialog will appear asking the driver to confirm if they want to start a rest break. Selecting OK will place the driver in off-duty and change the button color to red and the text to Stop Break. The Gain Time At label to the left will show the date and the time the driver must stay off-duty to complete the rest break. This time can be compared to the date time in the upper right corner. To end the break, tap on Stop Break and choose the correct status for the next activity. If driving again, choose On-Duty Driver. The rest break function only changes the driver's duty status to off. It can be used at any time to place a driver in off-duty status without signing out of the device. Using the rest break does not request the DVIR process as would any other sign-in or sign-off activity. Across the bottom of the driver overview are the other feature buttons of eFleet Suite. The Shipment button is used to manage shipments while signed in. It works in the same way as we explained during the sign-in process. Tapping on the Home button will return the driver to the driver overview. The Trailers button is used to manage trailers. The screen has 2 sides, Current Trailers and Add Trailers. To add a trailer, tap on the trailer ID and a keyboard will appear. To add a trailer, type in the trailer ID and press the Done button. The keyboard will disappear and the Enter Inspection Information dialog is shown. The location is populated by GPS. If GPS is not working, the driver will be expected to enter the city and state manually. There are two confirmation buttons. Back will return the driver to the previous Managed Trailer screen. Request DVIR will send a request to the website and download the most recent DVIR for this trailer. The driver will see two possible messages: DVIR received or no DVIR received. If no DVIR received is shown, the driver uses the OK button to process an initial DVIR for this trailer. If DVIR received is shown, the driver chooses the OK button and reviews the last DVIR for this trailer. Then the driver will tap on the next button to certify and submit that this trailer is safe to operate. Driver chooses the Yes button for safe to operate and chooses the Done button to complete. Now the driver can continue adding additional trailers or tap on the Home button to return to the driver overview. The Options feature allows drivers to request logs, add remarks, add pre or post shift time, take exemptions, or check the system diagnostics. The Request Logs button will allow a driver to request logs from the website at any time to receive updates such as changes or edits to the driver's log. Tapping on this feature, a confirmation dialog will appear to confirm the request. Tap on Yes or No. If the driver chooses Yes, the device will send a message to the website, and when the logs have been returned, a dialog will appear informing the driver that the logs have been received or are up to date. The driver taps on the OK button to confirm and returns to the driver overview. To add a remark, tap on Options and tap on the Add Remarks feature. The Add Remarks dialog will appear. Tap into the open text box. A keyboard will appear. Type in your remark and press the OK button to enter the remark and return to the driver overview. Remember, these remarks become a permanent part of the driver's log. Pre-shift and post-shift allow the driver to add on-duty time prior to the current sign-in and after the last sign-off from the previous shift. Tap on the pre-shift feature and adjust the date and time to enter the start of the on-duty time and tap on the OK button. This will add the on-duty time prior to the sign-in at the device. In the same way, tap the Options button and tap the post-shift feature. Adjust the date and time to enter the on-duty time after the last sign-off at the device. Take Exemptions allows certain drivers to claim an exemption from the driving rules. Tap on Take Exemption and a dialog will appear. Tap on the small arrow pointing down and to the right, and this will open the selections for exemptions. In our example, this driver can choose from one of three. Emergency, used only in national states of emergency and recording hours has been suspended. Adverse conditions, used when unforeseen events will prevent the driver from getting to the destination in the normal driving time allowed. 16-hour, used for those drivers who return to their domicile every day and are allowed 1 day every 7 days to use 16 hours instead of 14 hours. Choosing any of these selections requires the driver to enter details about the exception being taken. Tap into the text box, enter the reason for the exception, tap Done on the keyboard, tap OK to submit the exemption and return to the driver overview. The Diagnostics button under Options allows the driver to see the same system data as the version number function on the sign-in screen. To return to the driver overview without using any of the Options features, use the Hardware Return button on the device. It is the driver's responsibility to review the logs each day when signing off, and in the case of a roadside inspector, to show the logs to the DOT officer. This is done by tapping on the Logs button. The Logs feature uses 3 screens to show the driver log data. The grid view provides the driver with a graphical representation found in the paper logs. It includes the date in the upper left, the duty statuses on the left side, and time spent in each of those duty statuses on the right side, with total hours for the log day. Arrows are provided to move from previous day to next day's logs, or the user can use Android Swipe to move the screen back and forth. Tapping on the log button shows the chronological list of events for the driver's day on the left and log details on the right. The driver can swipe up and down to see more details for each of the sections. Tapping on the Office button shows the carrier's name, address, and home terminal, and appears as a dialog with an OK button to confirm and return to the driver's log page. A Home button is provided to return the driver to the driver overview screen. The View DVIR button works in much the same way as the View Logs button and shows the most recent DVIR on the device for both vehicles and trailers. The list of who created and approved the DVIR details are on the left and the asset information on the right. The list of assets is along the top bar and can be used to select each asset. Tap on the Home button to return to the driver overview screen. The plus sign driver button allows a second or co-driver to sign into the device. Tapping on this button presents the user with the sign-in screen and allows up to 6 total drivers to sign in to one device. Tapping on the Cancel button will return you to the driver overview screen. eFleet Suite has been designed to update the driver's status based on vehicle motion. When the device identifies the vehicle is moving, a motion lockout of the screen will occur. The driver overview screen will dim and a vehicle motion label will be shown across the bottom. The driver cannot interact with the eFleet Suite application at this time. Notice that in the current status feature, the driver's status updates to driving. Once the vehicle comes to a complete stop, the motion lockout label will disappear. Buttons and features on the driver overview screen will become available to use. There are a couple of changes to note under the current status details on the left side of the driver overview. The driver's status will update to driving automatically and will return to on-duty not driving when the vehicle stops and a 5-minute timer expires. If the vehicle begins to move again before the 5-minute timer expires, the driver will stay in a continuous driving event. The driver can manually change the status at any time by tapping on the Status button to select the correct status. The Status button on the lower left allows the driver to manually change status. Tapping on this will provide the duty status is available. The on-duty driver status is not available because the driver is currently signed in as the primary driver. Tapping on Sleeper or Sign Out will bring up the DVIR post-trip inspection screens. On duty will place the driver in an on-duty, not primary driver state. If the driver changes to an on-duty, not driving status manually and the vehicle begins to move, the driver is warned with a honk and an on-screen message that the vehicle is in motion and change status to driver is required. As soon as safely possible, the driver should pull over and update the status to on-duty driver. The driving events that are created during this time are sent to the website to alert the carrier that a vehicle has been driven without a driver signing in. At the end of the shift, a driver would use the Status button to sign off duty by using the Sign Out selection. The Enter Inspection Information screen will appear for the vehicle, showing the odometer and the location. If these values are not available, the driver will be asked to enter the information manually. The Back button will return to the driver overview. The OK button will give the driver the inspection list screen. If the driver has not removed the trailers using the trailer function, this is the opportunity to cancel and remove the trailers properly. Processing a DVIR at this time for the trailer does not remove the trailer. It only reports a post-trip DVIR for this shift. If the trailer is not removed and this device is used by another driver, the next driver will be asked at sign-in time if he intends to keep the trailers left behind by that last driver. The driver can choose to keep or remove at this time. The inspection list screen shows all the assets that have been added during this duty shift and a status of each DVIR on the right. A status of incomplete indicates the asset does not have a post-trip DVIR. To process a post-trip DVIR, tap on that asset and choose either no defects or add defects. Continue this process for all assets listed until each asset has a status of no defects or defects added. Press the Finish button to sign out. If the driver finds defects during the post-trip process, eFleet Suite provides the Add Defects button. Adding defects is a two-step process that identifies the part and the defect of that part. A default list of parts to be verified is in the list. Tapping on any of these parts will present the defects for that part on the right side of the screen. Tapping on a defect will place a check mark next to that defect. The driver can unselect the defect by retapping. The driver should select all appropriate defects and tap on the Done button. This will return the driver to the inspection list. At this time, the driver can add, remove, or change any of the parts and defects before moving on. Once satisfied with all the entries, the driver taps on the Next button to review the defects entered. The driver must review each asset and process a DVIR for each one. The list of assets is located in the status bar area. When the driver is satisfied with all the entries, the driver taps on the Finish button to log off duty and will be returned to the driver sign-in screen.